Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel today and thanks for joining me, Kevin Richards. So today what are we going to talk about? There's only one thing that we can really talk about, and that is the cost of living. So this is a subject which people have been speaking about for quite a long time, especially in the media and everything, and it's becoming more important than ever to be mindful of our spending habits. Okay, so what we're going to do is just dive into the subject to see what the most common culprits that might be draining our wallets. And we're not even realising it, because the funny thing is it's a subject that long before cost of living crisis ever cropped up or people spoke about it, that somebody I worked for, this is quite a few years ago as well, probably about 10 years ago, it was at a golf company, and I remember saying to him, why is it that we do the golf advertising so cheap? And he said to me, well, the funny thing is, the reason we do it so cheap is, one, so it's affordable for businesses, because obviously we were selling to businesses. And the second reason is, once a business takes it on, they don't cancel, because they never look at the small things. They look at cancel the things that are going to cost them a lot of money. So if you're looking at a business, a small to medium business, maybe it costs their rent, so they might look at moving their premises elsewhere. If they've got a website, might be their website's SEO or the hosting or something like that. Things that are costing a lot of money that you can always rectify. So this is a bit like that, because most people will generally worry about things that are going to cost them a lot of money, which is things like car loans, mortgages, insurance, loans, credit cards. You notice those. It's the little things that people don't think about, which can amount to a lot of money when you take them into account. So, first thing we're going to take a look at is streaming services. Now, virtually everybody uses streaming, no matter what your age. Okay, especially in the UK or in Western Europe, Western civilization at least, whether it's Western Europe or over the other side of the Atlantic in the United States. So things like Netflix, I think we probably pay about £10 a month, round that figure. Don't ask me, my wife pays it. Disney Plus, another one. Amazon Prime, and there's a whole host of other serving ones, streaming services like that. All cost an absolute minimal amount of money. But if you have them all, if you just take, for instance, Netflix and Disney Plus. So I don't know how much Amazon Prime is, I'll be honest with you, I don't. But if you take those two, it's what, 15, 20 quid a month just on their own. So take into account, do you actually watch them both? Do you actually need them? Next one, music streaming, Spotify, Apple Music. Another one, which you're going to be paying a monthly subscription probably. It may only be like £5-10, so it's £10. Then you've got Netflix and Disney. Just say you've just got Spotify. Most people have Spotify. It's 30 quid already. Then you've got your cloud storage, Google Drive, Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive. Then you've got the cloud service. Okay, all of these, little monthly subscriptions, maybe not a lot of money. It's like for cloud. I have it for the iPad. That gets me what, 50 gigabytes of, and I think I pay 99p a month. Not a lot of money. Then I have it for my PC. That's probably around about a tenner, maybe a little bit less than that. but it's around that kind of figure. You know, paying £10–11 to make sure I've got enough storage and things are backed up at the end of the day. You know, take into account the others. It's all costing you money. Then you got your fitness apps. So for all those of you who are obsessed with fitness at the end of the day, you know, making ourselves as slim and as trim as humanly possible with the lives that we live. You know, you've got Peloton. Peloton's not exactly cheap, let alone if you got getting a bike as well. Christ. Strava, and then Fitbit Premium. You know, these all cost a bit of money. So take that into account. Think about that. Do you actually need all of those? Next one. Now this is something that I normally have to worry about once I've upset my wife. Which, if you listen to my in-laws, it's probably every day. Okay, so impulse purchases, which is normally things that you'll find near counters. So if you go into the checkout in the supermarket, you know, they might have like a drink chiller just in front of it, different sweets, chewing gums, sometimes other stuff. You know, they'll have it at the end of the aisle as well, you know, just to catch you, especially if you've got the kids as well. They're well known for putting, you know, your sugary drinks, you know, your Prime and all your chocolate bars there. I reckon 9 times out of 10 it's just to catch my children and cost me more money. Okay, you go to petrol stations, same kind of thing. You know, I know we always used to, if we had offers on or we were going to have some kind of promotion, you're guaranteed that's going to be on there, whether it was like maps or mugs or whatever. You know, whatever's going to be a decent price was going to go right by that till. And that's classic retail at the end of the day. That's how they do it, to make sure you're buying what they need you to buy to maximise their profits at the end of the day. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way that they work. You know, so that's one thing you need to think about. Next thing is fast fashion. So if you don't know what fast fashion is, it's where you buy cheap, trendy clothes, which is going to have a short lifespan at the end of the day. So it's not a case of going to the more expensive shops, going to the cheaper shops. You know, like Primark, going to Poundland, going to, I don't know, Peacocks, those types of, well, not so much Peacocks, going to those types of shops where they're not, I would generally say you're not expecting them to last the next year, 2 years. You know, if you going to get your kids some clothes, don't want to spend a lot of money on them because they're going to grow out of them in 6 months' time or something. They're the places that you're going to generally go. But so they still look half decent. Okay, you know, so that's your fast fashion. Then you've got your brand loyalty. Now, back in the day for me, always used to be Nike. Not so much Adidas, to be honest, or, you know, I'm trying to think of these shops that I used to go to, you know, Top Man, those types of places. Obviously, most people normally see me nowadays in a forest shirt, or I'd go to certain soup shops because I'd always prefer to be in trousers and shirt. You know, so that's brand loyalty, where you're basically going to get rinsed because you're loyal to a particular brand, and those brands have a higher ticket price at the end of the day. So the question is there a better alternative so you can still look relatively decent? You know, even my mother-in-law says she way prefers me in trousers and shirt rather than how I normally am, because I can't be bothered to do that nowadays because I'm getting too old, where she'll normally say I look like a scruffer and a mess, especially if I've got like my fishing clothes on, which I've been well known to do is just walk around in my green fishing trousers and a shirt, and she complains what I look like a scruff and I'm not really looking after myself, and that I've just got like a football top on at the end of the day and a pair of tracksuit bottoms. But if it's what you feel comfortable in, that's fine. But problem is, if you're wearing those type of clothes, you know, it's like these. What are you looking at nowadays? 50 to 80 quid. 10 years ago, you could probably pick up one for what, 40 quid. So they've doubled in price in 10 years. Football clubs know you're still going to buy it at the end of the day. Unless you're very clever and do something that's rather illegal, I've considered buying it straight in from China. But I never said that. But that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays, getting it from abroad, so they're not having to pay top ticket prices that football clubs charge, which arguably is wrong. You know, I can say this is official. This did come from Nottingham Forest Football Club's club shop, as do all of my football shirts. Okay, so that is the problem with brand loyalty. You are going to pay a bit over the odds. Next thing that you've got to take into account is the cost of convenience. Now, this is something I'm guilty of, and that's takeaway food. Okay, order way too much takeaway food. That's probably why I've got a bit of a problem with my cholesterol at the moment, and a lot of people do. Now, the problem with takeaway food is, if you take, for instance, the average family is what? 3 kids, two people, married couple, or us, boyfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, however it is, you know, none of my business, but that's the average family in the UK nowadays. So if you're going to get a takeaway, whether that's kebab, Chinese, fish and chips, whatever, you're looking realistically of what, 30 to 40 pound. Now, if you weren't ordering that takeaway, let's say for instance you wanted a roast dinner instead. I appreciate a roast dinner takes a bit of time. Say for instance you go and do loin of pork, probably looking at what, 2.5 hours, 3 hours to cook that loin of pork. Then you're going to get your roast potatoes, roast parsnips, cabbage, preferably red cabbage. I do like a bit of red cabbage. You know, and all your other bits and pieces, and Yorkshire puddings, got to have Yorkshire puddings. As my grandfather said, a bit of raspberry vinegar. My mum would say strawberry jam on it as your dessert. You only look at the 20 quid. It's half the price. It's half the price of getting your takeaway. Now, the argument is, the takeaway, if you're, let's say for instance, going to Just Eat and getting it ordered on Just Eat, or you're going direct to the takeaway, could be in here, can be at your house in what, 30 to 40 minutes? That's 3 hours. Now that is the fundamental problem and the benefit of takeaway food, because you've got the convenience at the end of the day. But the roast dinner is healthier, and there's other options. You know, you can go and make kebabs. Kebabs aren't hard to make, and it's going to be cheaper than your 30 to 40 pounds. You know, you're probably looking at what, 10, maybe 15 pounds at a push, depending on how much kebab, whether you want typical doner kebab, or if you're going to put it on the skewers and everything, and maybe put a bit of veg with it. Dirt cheap at the end of the day. Next thing to think about is water. Now, obviously dentists are always going to say, oh, you got to drink more water. Don't drink fizzy drinks. Don't drink alcohol. Don't drink cordial or anything. You've got to drink water. Now, that's all well and good. Most people can't stand water, and the water in this country, just generally in the country at times, is absolutely awful. So you might go and get a Brita water filter or something. But if you're going to go out with it, You know, you don't want to be keep on going to the local shop to go and buy, you know, a litre bottle of water, because you're going to be paying what, about £1 to £1.50, somewhere on that kind of figure. So make sure you just have a water bottle. It saves you a lot of money, rather than having to keep on buying Evian or Volvic, or, you know, there's lots of other companies that sell water. You know, so think about that at the end of the day as another option. And it's no different to if you want to be taking hot drinks. You know, do you really need to keep on going to Costa? Or if you do, take a reusable one. You know, flask costs next to nothing. It costs what, a £5? Got your drink made out, it'll last for a few hours at least to keep it nice and warm for you. If you want your hot chocolate or your coffee or your tea or your soup or whatever in there at the end of the day. So that's another thing to take into account. Next one is the big elephant in the room, which is to do with energy. Now the problem is, energy companies every single year put our bills up, because they love to put our bills up, especially when the colder weather comes. You can be guaranteed gas is going up and electric's going up. Now obviously, about a month ago, for people that are on contracts, they put energy bills up. So I'd like to say thank you to all the energy companies out there for putting my bill up, because I'm not on a pay meter. I am on a tariff, as in pay monthly, because I've got solar panels on my roof, even though it saves me a bit of money during the summer and reduces my electricity bills. Rest of the year, they'd like to try and rinse me as best they can. But this is the question: is there a way to avoid and save money? Now the quick answer to that question is yes, there is. And of all times to call me, my wife decides to call me right now. So I'm going to end up sleeping on the sofa in a minute tonight, because I've just had to hang up on her. So one thing you might want to take into account is, are your old appliances still energy efficient? If they're not, you might want to have to consider replacing them, because they might be costing you extra money and not working properly. So always keep an eye on all your different appliances, whether it's fridges, freezers, washing machines, tumble dryers, TVs, a whole lot of them. Keep an eye on them. Make sure they're not draining your electricity too much. Okay, now the next thing leads on from that, and this is what virtually everybody is guilty of, is leaving their appliances on standby. I was just checking, see if any of mine work, because I don't want to make myself look too stupid by speaking about this and having appliances on standby at the moment. Okay, so I'm in my kitchen at the moment, nothing's on standby that I can see, but you know, classic ones: TV, DVD, or Blu-ray players, skyboxes, or if you're on Virgin boxes, PCs, laptops. The thing you've got to remember, whilst they're on standby, they're drawing electricity and costing you money, and all you're doing is taking money out of your pocket and putting it straight into the energy companies, so the CEO can have a nice holiday and carry on taking a nice salary at your expense. So if you want to carry on making sure you can live a nice lifestyle, carry on doing that. If you don't, you know what you can do: start switching things off, and especially when it comes to children, which is a classic of mine, especially when they will leave a room if they're not arguing like they are upstairs at the moment, you know, and they will leave their bedroom light on, their TV on, especially my middle son this is for, leave the Xbox on, a lamp on. If he's got a fan in there, that'll be left on just to irritate me. So you've got all those 5 things on, all drawing electricity and costing you money. So what you want to do is really check, do you actually need them on? And if you don't need them on, make sure they're switched off. Save yourself a few quid at the end of the day, or at least a few pennies, because obviously it's not that expensive. But over a length of time, it can add up to quite a considerable amount of money. Now, the next thing we're going to go on to is, I'm going to use an expression that not everybody might have heard of. And it's something that when I first went into the sales industry, I remember in one of my first sessions when I was training, they spoke about, which was keeping up with the Joneses. So if anybody doesn't know or understand what keeping up with the Joneses means, in a nutshell, this is what it is. It's when, say for instance, your next door neighbour or somebody on your road goes and does something all flashing, looking great. You know, maybe they've got the double glazing done, or a new door, or something done in their garden. It all looks all cool and excellent, and everybody's going, "Oh wow, look at that!" And then you decide, "What a moron! I'm gonna go one better than them." And you go and fleece your own bank account just to go one better. And then they're thinking, "Idiot." That's known as keeping up with the Joneses, where you've always got to go one better than somebody else. And now your next door neighbour's going to try and go better than you, and then the other neighbour's going to try and go better than them. And then it's a revolving circle at the end of the day. The same thing happens over and over and over again. That is keeping up with the Joneses. So what you've got to question yourself is, do you actually really need to be doing that? Rather than just concentrating on your household, rather than what other people are doing, because all you're going to do is end up emptying your own bank account. If you want to do it because you want to improve your house, that's a different story. But there's an awful lot of people who do it just just to get one up on people at the end of the day. It's like, for instance, where I live on an estate, which is probably about 70% military, if not more than that. You know, it's because of where I live, Royal Navy are based here. And it's like I said, because we only moved here on Christmas Day last year, and it's like I said to her, my wife, I said, coming onto the estate, if you're driving, you don't need to turn your headlights on at Christmas, because everybody's house, it's like the old Hollywood films, you know, like the film with Danny DeVito, and was it Michael Broderick, where they're trying to create the best light display on their roof so you can see it from outer space. This estate's like that. You come on it, you don't need anything, because every house is done up. And I mean externally, not internally, externally. Same with Halloween. It is ridiculous what people go and do on this estate. You know, like the energy companies for this estate, they must be laughing all the way to the bank. The amount of money that they're drawing in electricity with all the fancy lights. You know, people have already started getting them done, and we're only basically in mid-November at the moment. So I'm sure the CEOs of the energy companies are loving it at the moment as things stands. And that's the keeping up with the Joneses. You know, am I going to do that? No. One, can't afford the electricity bill for starters, and my wife would probably go spare. My kids would absolutely love it, but my wife would go mad. Okay, so the next thing I want to think about is things that you can do. So you know where the problems are. What can you do? Well, first thing you can do, and this is something I learned from my ex-wife. I hope my current wife isn't watching this. Now, my ex-wife was, she wasn't an accountant, she was bookkeeper. She always said to me, track your income and expenditures, do a spreadsheet. Okay, one side income, other side expenditure, the other off at the bottom, got money. So at least you know what's coming in, what's going out, what's left over. Make sure you've always got an excess. So obviously you've got a bit where you can put in savings. So if one day, excuse me, so if for one day something breaks down, say for instance your car breaks down, or your washing machine, or one of the kids throws a paddy and breaks your TV, or somebody you know, and I'm not going to mention names, goes and throws their computer across the room out of temper because they've had to do something they don't want to do. That's not in my house. You can always get it replaced. You don't have to worry about it. You've always got that. You've got that spare cash. You know, so if prices do go up, you don't have to worry about them prices going up. You've got the money at the end of the day. So always make sure you track your budgets. Okay. Now, I hope this helps everybody, this video. If you do have any questions, or if there's something you'd like us to do about a video about something else, just put it in the comments below. We do go through all the comments, so if there is something else you'd like us to do a video a bit about, just let us know. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe, and obviously give us a like or a thumbs up as I have it on YouTube. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you again a bit later. Okay.